Doing elites. It's a term widely used in English football to describe financial mismanagement within a football club. And if you ask any Leeds United fan, they'll know why their club has become associated with the term, as they watch their club spend its way to the top.
It's Viduka! Goal! It's Fowler! Back for King. Brilliant goal for Leeds United.
Only to come crashing down in spectacular fashion.
Who were champions of England 12 years ago are going down.
In just 6 years, they went from Champions League semi-finalists to League One strugglers, all due to reckless spending and poor financial planning.
Should we have spent so heavily in the past? Probably not.
In our next episode of How Not to Run a Football Club, we take a look into Leeds United, and by the end, you'll understand why doing a Leeds became known for financial mismanagement in football. Today's football fans may not realise just how big Leeds United once were, but those who watched in the 90s remember a club that was truly feared. Their success began in the mid-90s, winning the English title in 1992 and regularly finishing near the top of the Premier League in the early 2000s. From 1998 to 2002, Leeds secured 5 consecutive top 5 finishes, competing in Europe and reaching the Champions League semi-final in the 2001 season. However, beneath all this success, financial risks were piling up. This golden era was built on a talented squad and bold management. David O'Leary, who became manager in 1998, brought an exciting, high-energy style, leading to memorable moments like Mark Viduka's 4-goal performance in a 4-3 win over Liverpool.
There he is again. It's Viduka. It's...
There was also big money signings like Rio Ferdinand, who the club broke the British transfer record to sign him from West Ham in November 2000 for £18 million. Then there was the homegrown players from Leeds Youth Academy, including fan favourite Alan Smith. So all these players and signings played a crucial role in Leeds' success. However, these achievements came with an increasingly risky financial strategy. Chairman Peter Ridsdale pushed the club to borrow heavily against future revenues, and Leeds' debt began to soar. The 2001 season marked the peak of Leeds' success, but this Champions League run was only the high watermark before their financial decisions started catching up with them. Now, as we look back at Leeds' golden era, it's clear that these financial choices laid the groundwork for one of the most dramatic falls in English football history. Within a few years, this Champions League contender would be fighting for survival. So while Leeds United celebrated their Champions League semi-final appearance, few could have imagined the financial crisis that awaited them. Peter Ridsdale, who at the time was the highest paid executive on about $600k per year, implemented a risky financial strategy that involved borrowing heavily against future gate receipts and TV revenue. This approach was particularly precarious, as it hinged on one crucial factor: consistent Champions League qualification. Leeds United financial planners were essentially betting on continued success at the highest level of European football to generate the revenue needed to repay their mounting debts. In the 2001 season, the club took about £60 million loan against future gate receipts to fund player purchases. This decision created a financial situation that depended entirely on ongoing success in European competition. The club's spending on player wages and transfer fees during this period ranked among the highest in the Premier League. This significantly contributed to the escalating debt. But despite the growing financial crisis, Leeds continued their ambitious spending. They acquired high-profile players like Robbie Fowler for £11 million, hoping these investments would secure their place among Europe's elites and generate the necessary income to manage their debts. During this time, financial experts heavily criticised Leeds' strategy, noting that relying on future income from Champions League participation was a very dangerous gamble. And before you know it, their concerns were proved right, when Leeds failed to qualify for the Champions League in 2002, triggering a full-blown financial crisis. Without the expected revenue from the Champions League, and spending £90 million on players in 3 years, the club found itself unable to meet financial obligations. So how did they manage? Well, they didn't. So much so that they had to resort to desperate measures just to survive. For just a minute, I want you to imagine your favourite football team being torn apart, piece by piece. Doesn't that make you feel sad? Well, for Leeds United fans, this nightmare became reality as the club desperately tried to stay afloat. By June 2002, Leeds United debt had risen to 78 million, and their wage bill had hit £50 million a year. The financial crisis forced Leeds into a corner, with no choice but to sell their prized assets to manage their spiralling debt. Between 2002 and 2004, manager David O'Leary was sacked, costing the club £3 million in compensation, and Leeds offloaded many of their star players in a desperate attempt to balance their books. This fire sale saw the departure of some of the club's most talented and beloved players, leaving fans devastated and the team's on-field performances in jeopardy. The most significant transfer of that time was that of Rio Ferdinand, who moved to Manchester United for £30 million in 2002. Ferdinand's sale was particularly painful for Leeds supporters, as he was an English homegrown talent and a key figure in the team's recent successes. Other notable departures included Robbie Keane to Spurs, Jonathan Woodgate to Newcastle United, Harry Kewell to Liverpool, and Robbie Fowler to Manchester City, who they even agreed to pay part of his wages just to be able to sell him on. Not only were these players sold for under their market value, but they left gaping holes in Leeds' squad that proved difficult to fill. And despite the cash influx from player sales, Leeds United's financial situation remained precarious. The substantial debt underscored the depths of the club's mismanagement. Although the fire sale bought some time, it came at a devastating cost to the team's competitiveness and the fans' morale, leaving Leeds United struggling both financially and on the pitch. In March 2003, Ridsdale resigned as chairman, and after further investigation, their financial mismanagement extended beyond players. It was discovered Leeds has 70 cars on lease, was hiring private jets, and even rented an aquarium for Ridsdale's office. I mean, I can imagine that would have looked really cool actually, but definitely a poor financial decision. Anyway, Leeds collected a mere 8 points from their first 12 games of the 2003-04 season, leading to the dismissal of manager Peter Reid. Eddie Gray was appointed as temporary manager, but despite a brief resurgence, Leeds soon found themselves in a devastating 7-game losing streak. After 14 years in the Premier League, Leeds United were eventually relegated to the Championship, marking a dramatic fall from grace for a club that had been competing in Champions League semi-finals just 3 years earlier. The loss of Premier League status brought with it a host of new challenges, including reduced TV revenue and decreased matchday income. Dennis Wise was brought in to steady the ship, but the team's on-field performances remained inconsistent. In 2007, the full extent of Leeds United's financial crisis became apparent when the club entered administration, resulting in a points penalty that pushed the team further down the table. During this period, the phrase "doing a Leeds" became known in football, becoming synonymous with financial mismanagement, leading to rapid decline. As Leeds United grappled with administration, the club's very existence hung in the balance. The team that had once reached the heights of European football now faced the prospect of playing in the third tier of English football for the first time in its history. The road ahead for Leeds would be long, with no guarantee of a return to their former glory. So from Champions League semi-finalists to the third tier of English football in just 6 years, Leeds United's fall from grace was complete. The 2007-08 season marked a new low as they found themselves in League One, the culmination of years of financial mismanagement and poor on-field performances. As they prepared for the new season, Leeds were hit with a 15-point penalty for failing to follow insolvency rules during their administration period, placing them at a significant disadvantage before the season even began. The financial situation at Leeds remained critical. Leeds United's very existence was hanging by a thread, with the Football League seriously considering expelling the club entirely due to their financial situation. It was only through last-minute negotiations and agreements that Leeds were allowed to continue in professional football. Despite these enormous challenges, Leeds United showed remarkable resilience on the pitch. The team, led by manager Dennis Wise, embarked on a strong run of form at the start of the season. They quickly wiped out their points deficit and found themselves in contention for promotion, bringing a glimmer of hope to a long-suffering Leeds fan. However, the fairy tale comeback was not to be. Leeds narrowly missed out on promotion from League One in the 2007-08 season, finishing in 5th place and losing the playoff final. This near miss was a significant blow to the club's aspirations for recovery and left many wondering how long it would take for Leeds to return to their former glory. As Leeds prepared for another season in League One, the road back to the Premier League seemed longer and more treacherous than ever before. After a few years batting it out in League One, the club finally secured promotion back to the Championship in 2010 under Simon Grayson. This victory against Bristol Rovers on the final day of the 2009-10 season marked the beginning of Leeds' long road back to the top flight. The Championship proved to be a formidable battleground for Leeds. The club struggled to mount serious promotion challenges, with mid-table finishes becoming the norm. Managerial instability plagued the team, hindering progress both on and off the pitch. A crucial turning point came in 2017 when Andrea Radrizzani acquired ownership of the club. This change provided a more stable foundation for Leeds' future, bringing renewed financial stability and a clear vision. The arrival of Marcelo Bielsa in 2018 revolutionised Leeds United. The Argentine manager's high-intensity style of play revitalised the team and captivated fans. Despite a heartbreaking playoff loss in 2019, Leeds dominated the 2019-20 Championship season, finishing first with 93 points and securing their long-awaited return to the Premier League. The 2020-21 Premier League season proved Leeds United were more than just happy to be back. The team finished 9th with 59 points, marking the best performance by a newly promoted side since Ipswich Town in 2001. This impressive return showcased Leeds' ability to compete at the highest level once again. That, however, did not last very long, and Leeds United's journey has come full circle, with the club once again finding themselves in the Championship following their relegation from the Premier League in 2023. As Leeds United look to the future, their current status in the Championship presents both challenges and opportunities. Radrizzani sold his 56% stake in September 2023 to the consortium led by 49ers Enterprises, who already held 44%. As of 2024, Leeds United recently informed the Supporter Advisory Board that, even with the sales of key players, they are still operating close to the Championship's financial fair play limits. However, promotion to the Premier League will ease a lot of concerns over the club's finances, given the financial rewards obtained for being in the top flight. Leeds United's future prospects will depend on their ability to balance their finances with on-field ambition, learning from their hard lessons of their past while striving for future success.